All right, if I want to integrate this one, the first step is, can I do this with anything besides u substitution? And I really can't, unless, yeah, no, there's no way. So what we got to do is u substitution. We have to decide what's my u. And your u is usually the piece that's embedded in a parenthesis or a square root or something like that. So for this particular problem, I notice that u is probably going to be 16 minus x cubed. And when I derive this, do you actually get a version of x squared? Yeah, you do. So what we get here is, when we derive it, you get du equals negative 3 x squared dx. Now, it's really du dx equals this, but I move the dx over, make a differential out of it. Now, does this match up with this? No. So what I got to do is, I got to divide both sides by negative 3, because what I now have is du over negative 3 is equal to x squared dx. And hopefully you now notice that this matches this. So since those two match, I can replace x squared dx with du over negative 3. And I can replace this whole piece with u. And what I end up with is something that looks like this. So I'm going to take the 1/3 on the negative 1/3 and put it out in front. I'm going to have, this is 1 over u to the second, and instead of u to the second being on the bottom, I'm going to make it u to the negative second. And I have du. That is now a lot easier to look at and to integrate. Again, du over 1, negative 3. I put the negative 1/3 out front in the du. That replaced this. And this u squared, which is on the bottom, becomes a u to the negative second. And this is an easy integral. What you end up with is the negative 1/3 out front. You add 1 to this. That would give you u to the negative 1. You divide by negative 1 plus c. From there, it looks like the negatives are going to cancel. So I'm going to have u, get rid of that. It's going to have 1 over 3u plus c. Because the negative comes to the bottom. And now let's plug in u. So I have 3, and then I have 16 minus x to the third plus c. That looks like what the answer should be to me. All right. That hopefully makes sense and works. Yes. That is the integral plus c. Don't forget your plus c. Now for this one, we have the derivative, and we're going to get back to the original. So the first step is to write this as a differential. And this would be 1 minus x to the third to the 1/2. Move the dx over. Then I want to get it to the regular equation, so I'm going to integrate both sides. The integral of dy is simply y. And this one is another u substitution. So to do this one, it's a u substitution. So what we got to do is we first got to find what's u. And again, it looks like the bottom, what's inside the parentheses. That's u. And du, the derivative, looks like it's going to be negative 3x squared. Deja vu. Dx. Now, when we do that, oh, I did mess up. This is a plus right here. So would this be a plus 2? Does that look right? All right. Now, when I want to do this, I end up with the integral. Now, could I just pull this 10 out front? Kind of running out of space, but if I did the integral, can I just pull the 10? Kind of small, but I pulled this 10 right out front. And I have x squared dx, correct? X squared dx. Can I also put that 3 underneath the 10? Maybe basically put a 10/3 out front. Hopefully you're getting used to this idea and start doing this in your head and not having to do all the steps. But you basically pull the 10 out, and then this 3 is going to come over here underneath du. And you now have u to the 1/2, but this would be u to the negative 1/2 du. So again, you pull the 10 out, and then you divide the 3 over, and that looks like what we're going to deal with. So we now have y equals 10 over 3. When you add 1 to negative 1/2, you get positive 1/2. You divide by 1/2, which ends up becoming a, don't forget plus c, this becomes a 2 on top. So your answer ends up being, the 2 comes up here with the 10, so it's 20 over 3, and this becomes the square root of u, which is 1 plus x to the third plus c. That would be the answer. Again, I did skip some steps, but the key is just pull that 10 out, where the 10 came from, and this 3, I need to move over to the du. That's where the 3 came up down there.